OK， 大概是最后一章了。这也是人中之龙的熟悉操作。有啊，还有 DLC。逃出居民0人。
I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am...
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crime. I'm sorry, you people? Did you just cast a generalization on upstanding UDL employees? You're up to 5,708, not including the... We're on lockdown. Tartarus docking authority signing... Wait, is it...
Transmission term... How can... May luck be with you.
Oh.对啊，我一开始我没有 ID 卡欸。不然
The captain did right by us once. What? Now it's our turn. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I read. Push on, Mardad.
Somebody toss this garbage out the airlock. Open fire! Take him down!
Incoming!
Processing security. What?
You got it, Captain!
我们怎么可能有董事会的卡？我们他在干嘛？我们董事会的那个声望超低的。
Let's look around. There's gotta be a few ways through here.
算了。
Okay, keep him quiet.
What was that?
怎么都有人呐、啊？不是，我想说那个人转过去，应该他会给一边可以走啊，怎么没有呢？他这样子我没办法潜行啊！干嘛欺负我欸？习惯早睡早起的，因为很尴尬，我没有这里的那个伪装，还是我们想办法找一下这边伪装啊？因为这边，哦，OK， 哎呀，我 got it， 我们没办法，我们只能这样子硬闯了。这哪里都是他们的人啊，我怎么闯都过不了吧？没有，他嗑药的速度超慢的，你们刚刚没看到吗？他嗑药的速度超慢的。如果我还是我可以在这边打。哎，一步错，步步错。我在这里打，他们打进来嘛，好像在讲废话一样。 为什么没有手雷？我有手雷的话就可以扔个2颗。他们都死了啦！哦，这个。
What? What was that? Take him down! Attack!
Damn it! The kid's gone down!
哎！
No!
可以，我觉得我们有离目标近一点了。
Okay, gone quiet.
What? What was that?
Watch out!
Coming.
啊！哎！还是正面屠戮。
Front
Here they
security.
come!
What was that? What was that?
System unaccepted.
这个打一定打不赢，因为太多人了，一个一个来还好说。
And we're stalking, and we're stalking.
我看到那上面有那个。
What was that? I better take a look. Huh? Guess I'm getting paranoid.
Incoming!
啊，
Can't get past that armor. Nice work.
等一下我找一下路在哪里好了。可是他这边一定会对到。除非那边下来有别的地方可以走啦。还不会。
Get in there, troops. For Monarch. For Halcyon. No prisoners. Bring him down.
Behind you!
What? Saw something. Going in.
这样的方法可以，但是坏处是队友回不来。
Captain! No!
可是这样子躲，我觉得太慢了，一路吐会比较快。一路吐，然后杀最后那一间的。因为你看前面这里这个桥上2个，这一定会被发现啊！再怎么样，一定都会被发现。
Incoming!
Get in there, troops. For Monarch. For Halcyon.
On your left, Captain!
Covering you!
I'll fix you right up!
我们董事会的声望，董事会在愤怒，董事会要气死了。这不是狙击，这是步枪，只是他的劲超大一个。 其他武器干嘛来乱的？干嘛这样子？董事会要气死啦！
Well, look who it is.
看看是谁来了。
I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are. I had heard you'd taken a mechanic under your wing. What's the matter, girl? Couldn't find
董事会已封锁。
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of...
Keep talking, and you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in him.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the
他
college.
这个游戏的
Remarkable.
人超级僵硬。
It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thank. Oh, the look on your face. But that's between us. Oh yes, go on, wake them up. Add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
We're helping, which is more than you can say.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way. Oh, right. This coming from the psychopathic outlaw. Yes, I'll try to be more open-minded about your path of wanton dissent. We don't need your help.
80。
We'll have to...
我们才65，因为我们现在也不可能带人来这边啦。这边+5，我看一下有没有更多的+5、+10。如果有3件的话，也许有机会，可是有可能不能再对话一次。OK， 就是少一件。唉。 我一路跑了。
Watch out!
原来是跑酷游戏啊！
Take a breath now, folks. Once we're up there, I suspect we ain't gonna have time to stop shooting.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. I don't like being played. When you delivered Wells into my hands, I was operating under the assumption that I'd won your loyalty. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. Typical. Running your mouth in the... I should have done... I suppose I shouldn't be leaving you alive.
博士在这。
Greatest mistake, but it is a mistake. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. In that we are in agreement. I take leaving you alive. Fair enough.
哦，我连魅力都没有。哼。
This.
OK， 要打网了。那个魅力不知道怎么加。它到底在上面还是下面？怎么太下来了？啊 ，OK， 存档了，各位准备好了吗？准备好了吗？先吃点这个好了。因为他刚刚有下来就存档，在特写他。退，大哥
！Here I go.
这一把真的是还好，我有强化这一把欸。就这儿，真的感觉刚刚前面那一段好像还比这个人强。OK，BOSS 战就这儿。哦，OK。他说我都没讲完。真的开门就趴没了。
You didn't have to do this, you know. Risk your life.
难怪他的 BOSS 这么烂。
No, I expect they didn't. You're a force of nature, aren't you? You've left the board in tatters, but Halcyon is still on the verge of starvation. I just hope we're not too late. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own.
You mean we're all alone out here? Really alone?
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth is no longer an option. Earth isn't going to help us. No one's going to help us now. We're alone out here, and I don't know if we're going to survive. Yes, certainly. I'll help however I can. I heard it from Akande herself. She tried to pressure me into joining her side, you see. Tried to make me realize that all hope is lost, and that we are alone. She was half right. We are alone, and we're going to have to fend for ourselves, because there's no telling what's happened to Earth. You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the colony's entire military was on that ship. They were returning to Earth when they vanished without a trace. That was 2 years ago. We haven't heard a word from them since. Whatever happened to Earth likely happened to them. I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I don't know why Earth's gone silent. I don't even know if Earth exists anymore. We have no connection back to Earth, and return is likely impossible. We're completely alone out here. Yes, Akande mentioned as much. Earth hasn't sent us a single message in 3 years. No one knows why. Akande had kept the truth to herself, perhaps with good reason. Can you imagine what would have happened if word got out? We'd have utter pandemonium. I wasn't trying to hide the truth from you, but after all you've done, I owe you an explanation. Yes, I experimented on the Hope's colonists. Each of my experiments ended in catastrophic failure. Each of my subjects died in agony. You are my first and only success. I didn't tell you about the others because I didn't want to burden you. My failures are my own to bear, not yours. I'm not asking you to forgive me. Law knows I won't forgive myself, but I'm going to try to set things right. My apologies. I need to get a hold of myself. We've far more pressing issues to worry about right now. If you have any more questions, ask me. I'll answer as best I can. I had hoped your fellow colonists might hold the key to saving Halcyon, but I don't have nearly enough chemicals to revive them all. I'll do what I can. I just hope it's not too late. It's time I return to my lab. I'll try to save as many of the Hope's colonists as I can. You're under no obligation to help me. You've done enough already. I had a feeling you might say that. If you want to part ways with me, I can hardly blame you. I've spent 35 years obsessing over the Hope's colonists. My failures are my own. I don't want you to waste your life trying to help me pay for my own mistakes. We were going to save this colony, you know. That's what I told myself when I pulled you from the Hope. You and I were going to set everything right. Now, I don't know what to think. Earth is gone, and we are going to need a miracle to survive another generation. I always suspected Halcyon might collapse one day. I just thought we would have more time.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. As the colony struggled to survive, the inspirational story of the iconoclasts spread like wildfire, and Graham was able to bring many of the smaller Terra 2 townships into the fold. However, his zealous obsession with spreading the word blinded him to the needs of a growing organization, and the movement was unsustainable at scale. The iconoclast way seemed to work best, and ultimately petered out on Monarch. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Ellie savored her adventures on the Unreliable. Once they were done, she returned to life as usual, running missions of dubious legality, shunning respectable work, and living life to the fullest. She meant to reach out to her one-time captain, but she was always bad at keeping in touch. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. After all he'd seen and heard adventuring with you, the vicar Maximilian de Soto renounced his faith and joined the effort to rebuild the colony. Ironically, he finally found the joy that had eluded him over the course of his life, and realized that perhaps he was always meant to be just a simple laborer after all. He quickly dismissed the idea. Though Parvati eventually grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell. She seemed to prefer the company of Ada to the crew, and she could often be found neck-deep in cables and grease, telling Ada funny stories from her childhood. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently as its chief and sole engineer. As hard as she tried to drink them away, Nyoka's memories eventually overcame her. Traveling with the crew served as a constant reminder of the family she'd lost, and so she eventually returned to Monarch to get back to what she found most comfortable: the deep end of a bottle and the far end of a trail. Few have seen her since, but travelers often swear they hear her and her machine gun in the night, screaming swears and spitting bullets. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He was never able to come to terms with his own past, troubled by the decision of placing all his faith in the first colonist he ever revived, the infamous captain of the Unreliable. The revival project yielded mixed results. Phineas, weighed down by limited support and his own guilt, struggled to revive more than a handful of scientists and engineers. They made a heroic effort to solve the colony's problems, but with small numbers and facing long odds, their solutions never caught on. Only a few of the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Wells died before he could see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a haunted man, crushed by the guilt of his failures. Small, petty factions squabble over what remains of the colony. Every attempt to reach out to Halcyon's neighbors is met with silence. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? You brought an end to the chaos on Tartarus and left Dr. Wells to his own devices. The affairs of the colony never distracted you from living out your own dreams, to captain a ship, to sail the ether, and to earn a reputation as the greatest spacer Halcyon ever had. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.